Hey, so I thought I'd talk about some of the mechanics behind this build. I don't think I've really explained them in the videos. I've just done them piece by piece, but in this video I'll explain a whole bunch of them at once. So this is a Boneshatter Slayer. It's modelled after Khan's Boneshatter. I don't know if you've seen. If you're looking for a good leveling guide, and well, it's a great guide in general. Khan's Boneshatter guide is the way to go. The only issue is it's a bit outdated now because I don't think he's updated it since last league. Because I think he ended up, well, going and using DD for this league just because of the nerfs to melee, which is like removing call to arms off the tree and not having, you can't have it on left click. You can't have your ancestral cry on left click anymore. You have to have it like connected to call to arms, otherwise you just can't use it as a skill pretty much, because if you're melee and you're stopping to cast a skill in the middle of packs, you're instantly dead, you know? You have to be attacking. And that's actually why I don't even like totems, to be honest, because you can die casting your totems. Because the big thing, one of the underrated defensive layers of Boneshatter is that it stuns so many people. Anyway, I'll show you what Ancestral Cry is like without call to arms. Okay. So this is Ancestral Cry, by the way. It gives you lots of armor, lots of melee strike range, exerts some strikes, which is great. It gives you a lot of DPS and maps. Anyway, and like protection as well. So if I had it, if I was supposed to use it like just a normal skill, be running around, attacking, and then having to every time stop like that and cast it. So I'd be like running around attacking, and then in the middle of a pack stopping like that to cast it, which is like, obviously that can get you killed, and it's really inefficient, and it feels like shit to play, to be honest. You're a melee, you shouldn't really be casting spells, you use skills to get around or whatever, but like, if you're like a pure melee build, I'm not talking about like obviously like battle mage type builds or whatever, but like casting spells in the middle of battle, like sure, maybe casting curses, but even those usually try to automate, right? Or maybe casting a mark on a tougher enemy, but not really like in packs, Anyway, that's what it sucks, how GGG have made it. So there used to be a call to arms keystone here, which did the same thing as the new gem does, which is this. We need to put another % on this gem. But yeah, anyway. So that's a bit of a tangent. But yeah, so it's based on Khan's Boneshatter build, and then I just like adjusted it to be for this league, and also I kind of adjust it to be a bit more softcore because he's a hardcore player, and I think usually you hardcore solo self-found too, so he doesn't really have access to the trade league, so stuff like buying Fish and Flames and that, you don't really plan for that in solo self-found, so can just add different things really. But yeah, he's got a sick build. I'll link it. He's got a sick guide. I'll link the guide in the description. One day I'll do a guide, but I want to ask. I don't know if I can get in contact with him, but I want to ask Khan and see if it's alright, because it's going to be basically like his guide, just slightly adjusted for the leveling, and then basically edited for softcore after leveling. That's pretty much it. And then my twist on it, which is it's got the Petrified Blood and things like that just make it slightly different in the end. So I'll ask him if that's okay, and then I don't really want to do a guide, because I don't want to do a guide like a leveling guide, but that's different really from his as well, because his is so good. Like, I can do a leveling guide, but it's going to be way worse, right? So I want to do a guide that sucks as well. So it's either like Khan lets me because I'll edit his guide a bit in the start, because stuff like call to arms and that is necessary now. And his came out before that was a thing really. But you know, it's going to be like the main skeleton is going to be his. I mean, to be honest, every Boneshatter build is a skeleton of his build. He made it, and even the Juggernaut one is basically his build too. You know, so yeah. Anyway, I want it to be I want to run it by him and make sure it's okay with him that I do it. And if it's not, I won't do it. So here we go. Anyway, or I might just do, if it's not okay with him, I might just do a like a end game kind thing, which is where I pretty fully deviate from. Well, not fully, but quite a bit of deviation from his. Anyway, this is Max. It's that. But I mean, I'm going to link a POB down under in the details. You can have a look at my items here. I'll just tell you about why I did items this way. With the axe, you don't really care about crit chance, so crit chance does nothing to you because you have a keystone called Precise Technique. This one here, which makes you never deal critical strikes, but you do deal 40% more attack damage if accuracy rating is higher than your maximum life. Luckily for me, because I've got accuracy on my gear, where is it? Accuracy is 5966 and my maximum life is 417. So that means I'm good to go. Probably can drop some accuracy on some of my items actually, because of my I do want to get my life up at some point. Anyway, it's my helm. It's okay. I still haven't really finished crafting some of these items, but basically with all your armor, the main thing that matters, like say helm, your boots, your gloves, your chest, the biggest deal with them is making sure you get the suffixes correct. So you want accuracy rating, spell suppress, and whatever resistance. It doesn't matter which resistance, just an elemental resistance. And gloves, accuracy rating, a resistance, and suppress again, and then obviously life on top. Yeah, so obviously you want life on your gear, and you also, with your helmet, you want a free prefix so you can craft that Phys to Alley. So physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. That's huge. Like that is a massive amount of damage mitigation. Yes, from both your self damage and Boneshatter, and also enemy damage. So you can still got that both on the explicits and the implicits, because it's really important. I've also got it on my chest as well, crafted on. This is basically a perfect chest. I don't have life on it on purpose, so I can take this node here, that 15% increase. I'll see which one I've clicked on. This one here, 15% increased maximum life if there's no life modifiers on equipped body armor. So it's great. That's why I did it that way. It gives you more armor and more life really at the end of the day. At least just, yeah. Anyway, it's good. Suffixes are perfect, like literally perfect. There's nothing you would want better. So physical damage reduction, resist, and suppress spell damage. I don't think there's anything on the market that has these suffixes. No, okay, there's nothing. So just look for a lower value, maybe get 6% physical damage reduction. Or you can have a go at crafting it yourself. It just does take a lot of time. The real issue is the high physical damage reduction and the high spell suppress are real rare, very rare. But also the other issue is you can't craft spell suppress with Necropolis. You can craft like everything else, but spell suppress you just can't craft with Necropolis. So it might be good to get like a fractured 8% additional damage reduction, and then just roll a resistance. Just roll a resistance. What's it called? Essence on it until you hit spell suppress, or the other way around. Get a fractured spell suppressed and roll a essence on it until you get physical damage reduction. And then do the prefixes later. The prefixes like the increased armor don't actually matter. Like don't get me wrong, they're really strong and they make this build a lot better. But the reality is, you just want a free prefix so you can put physical damage taken from hits taken as fire damage, and you don't want life on it. Unless you hit a T1 life roll, then okay, just keep it. You know, you might as well. But yeah, and then you can save a skill point. Amulet is this tainted pack with +1 to all maximum res. You can do the +1 additional curse as well version, which means you'll put Warlord's Mark as well as vulnerability in your cast and damage taken. I might do that later actually. It's a good thing to do. I've got it anointed with Inveterate to cap my spell suppress and also prevent more spell damage. Ring, I've got an onslaught ring. You don't need this. This is just you have perma onslaught in maps anyway because of your axe. This one here, Hatchet Master. 20% chance to gain onslaught for 4 seconds on kill. That pretty much gives you, you know, pretty much perma onslaught in maps. Until you hit if you spend a bit of time at boss, you might lose it, but yeah. So this is unnecessary, but it's nice to have, especially if you're fighting bosses. I did craft this ring pretty much from scratch. I think I've got a video where I do it. It was very expensive. I don't recommend doing it that way anymore because just veiled orbs have gone up so much. So I'd probably do, instead of doing a veiled orb, I might even do, it's hard to say. I don't know if I would. I'd have to sim it, but from the top of my head, okay, like don't take this as gospel. I might do suffixes can't be changed because you do the suffixes first on it. Yeah, I did the suffixes on this by just chaos spamming, and honestly, that's the cheapest way. Yeah, so I chaos spammed until I got accuracy rating and a resist, and then suffixes can't be changed, and then I reforged chaos to get a guaranteed chaos resistance. I got tier 3, which is fine. And then when suffixes can't be changed, I used a veiled orb on it, which failed. And then so I had to go suffixes can't be changed again. And then I scoured it because I accidentally suffixes can't be changed again. And then I used another veiled orb. I blocked. I used mana to block mana on it, and then I unveiled life, which was what I was aiming for. I think it's something like a 2 out of 3 chance to unveil life if you block mana. But you know, the 1 out of 3 really hurts with today's prices of veil orbs. Unless you farm your own, then it's free, right? And then you want to craft on non-channeling skills have negative 7% to total mana cost, and you also want to fertile catalyst it. Ideally, you fertile catalyst it before you actually craft it. That way, you only have to use 4 rather than 20. But this time I didn't. Yeah, and then I exalt slammed it for an extra mod and I got T6 of Agent. This one's a bit better probably. I just bought this with the suffixes how they are. That's a good thing to do, by the way. Buy it with the suffixes how they are, and then you can just do the prefixes later. Yeah, I can't remember how I got the life on this. It's in a video. I think I happened. Anyway, I remember randomly getting T4 life and thinking, oh, that'll do. And just living with that. Because I think this has cost me a bit too with crafting. But yeah, so I got the suffixes how they are, and then ideally you just craft suffixes can't be changed, and then you unveil life, but obviously now that's probably way too expensive to do, so maybe you harvest reforge life, which is a possibility to fill up all your prefixes, which means that you can't craft non-channeling skills, which might brick it. So that's a bit of a gamble itself. It's hard to say. Maybe add or remove life. Might even be cheaper to do it that way rather than reforge, rather than using veiled orbs now. But that sort of doesn't guarantee a good roll either. So yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum with how to get a good ring nowadays, with veiled orb prices being so high. Okay, and then so for somehow I got the life, I can't remember how, and then it's in one of my videos, and then And then I crafted non-channeling skills, and then I used a Warlord Exalted Orb on it to get the increased melee damage. And this is actually a really, really good ring. Sure, the life is a bit crap, but whatever. Sorry. Here's my gloves. So there's perfect suffixes and some life crafted on it. Eventually, I could probably just chaos or Eldritch Chaos roll these the prefixes, and until I hit something good, and then maybe ideally you could Veiled Orbit and get like a damage while your flask's used, or as a prefix, or you can get like +2 to AoE and put your auras in there. There's other things you can do that make it even better, but I'm happy with these. You know, as long as the suffixes are fine and I've got some life on it, I'm happy. These are pretty shit boots, but what I've got, I might upgrade these to something different at some point. The suffixes are great. I have the chance to avoid being shocked on that, which I crafted using essences, and that's to mix with this thing here, this little abyssal jewel, which gives 50% chance to avoid being shot, which gives me 100% chance to avoid being shot together, or 105%. And then that, and with this jewel here, modifiers to a chance to avoid being shocked apply to all elemental ailments. That means since I've got over 100% chance to avoid being shocked, I can, or 100% plus, I avoid all elemental ailments. So it means even if I stand on shocked ground, I don't get shocked. Obviously immune to everything it just lists there actually at the bottom there. So ignited, scorched, chilled, frozen, brittle, shocked, and sapped. So that's really useful. Yep. Belts here, I crafted this from scratch. Probably need to divine up the life on that. Where that hits 12% if it's divined. What did I do here? I used Druid essences, so I think the T2 ones, to hit. I rolled armor until I had an okay life roll. I just was happy with T3, obviously, by the looks. And then craft prefixes can't be changed. And then what did I do? I think I tried to unveil it, and then I had a suffix. No, I had a prefix with Brexit, and so I had to annul that. And then, yeah, what did I do? I reforged. So when prefix can't be changed, yeah, because I never hit the unveil on it, and they were getting expensive, so I stopped that. Yeah, I do it. I can't remember how I crafted it. It was like a lifetime ago. It is actually in one of my videos. But how did I get the resist on it? Why is my suffixes so shit? So yeah, I eventually got these suffixes. I must have been using like, I think I just straight up exalted one of these anyway. But yeah, anyway, when you get two prefixes, obviously the suffixes are pretty shit now I look at them. Like, regenerate life does nothing for me, and then like T6 cold res. I've only got one good suffix. I might have to craft a new ballot, really, to be honest. Anyway, if you get two prefixes and you slam T1 life, sorry, if you get two prefixes and you hunter and you fill up the suffixes and you hunter exalt it, you try to slam T1 life if you can, and luckily I did. So there we go. Yeah, there's not a crafting guide, guys. This is just me trying to remember how I did things guide. But yeah, I'll explain more of the mechanics on the build. Okay, so this is my skill tree. It's not. This is just for what I'm doing at the moment. So this is obviously this whole cluster is going to get removed as soon as they have more poison chance. The whole reason I got this cluster is just really for this, and then the extra enemies poison but you can't deal critical strikes is really good because I was doing some T17 maps, so that sort of nullifies all of those mods in there. I've got 100% impale chance. I just really like impale damage. It's probably inefficient, but I've got it. I can probably drop it. I don't have the totem cluster, even though it's pretty good for bossing and gives you a lot of DPS. I just really don't like totems, so I only use them when I have to. There's some personal preference. It is more efficient to just use them. yeah, got this here. This mastery is great with the 1 rage on hit. It's really good. It enables your berserk. This is huge for mapping, especially when you do splash damage to everything, and plus your pulses, plus your non-val strike, an extra strike on a target. It means like it almost triples your damage. Like just this one cluster almost triples your damage in maps if there's like 2 monsters next to each other. Got a couple of cluster duels here. These are great because they give you a lot of damage, and also it gives you a lot of accuracy, and sometimes you can get really strapped for accuracy. Usually my initial goal when I hit maps is just to get to a point where I can drop having precision on arrogance, so I don't have to reserve that anymore, even though I've got a whole bunch of reserve life now. And I'll talk to you about that mechanic. So this is the reason I've got the reserve life mainly is so I can enable my flesh and flames. And I'll tell you about that duel, actually, Petrified Blood. If I can find it. Here it is. So this is what reserves. Well, what doesn't reserve? Well, it does. This is what reserves my life. You don't have to have this reserve your life. You can reserve Petrified Blood on your mana and then have something else reserve your life. But this is like an aura. Well, it's a spell, but it acts like an aura, you know. So it applies a buff that protects the lower half of your life, preventing some of the immediate life loss. Your life cannot be raised above low life other than flask, and while above low life, skills will cost life as well as mana. Okay, so yeah, so the only way you can recover above low life is with your flasks, but you can't, like, no other thing does it. Okay, so not leeching, not regening, nothing. When taking spells from hits, not recovery, nothing like that. When taking damage from hits, 40% of life lost below half life is prevented, then 75% of that is lost over 4 seconds. So it kind of like takes like hit damage and then turns that into damage. 40% of your hit damage is just turned into damage over time. So yeah. Skills gain base cost equal to 40%. Yeah, well, who cares about that? But anyway, so it's pretty good because this build is a South Poison build, so you're pretty much always regening. Yeah, as long as you're leeching, you're regening. So that basically any damage over time that you take is basically, you can think of it as no damage. So basically that's like that 75% of damage that it gives back to you doesn't really matter. At all. But the reason I have this duel anyway is to work with my Flesh and Flames. So this is called First to Strike. This is a champion ascendancy. This is what it does here. So your hits permanently intimidate enemies that are on full life, which makes them take 10% increased attack damage. That acts like a more multiplier because it applies the increased attack damage like after all your damage is already applied. So yeah, it's basically a 10% more damage multiplier there. Gain adrenaline for 20 seconds when you reach low life. So yeah, adrenaline, it says there, grants 100% increased damage, 25% increased attacks and movement speed, and 10% additional physical damage reduction. You cannot gain adrenaline if you already have it. So yeah, it gives you adrenaline for 20 seconds, and this means I can do adrenaline in bosses without having to kill anything as well, right? So all I have to do is not be in low life and then reach low life, and I do this with my flask. So I push my flask and I go up to 2-3-5-7-1, right, and then as soon as I'm back down to 2-3-7-5, I'm back down to low life and I get this adrenaline buff. And I can just do that, you know, I can't get adrenaline again until this times down. I'll show you. See, I got it again. So that's that, and it's a huge buff. Obviously, 100% increased damage, and then running around faster, and 10% physical damage reduction is huge for this build. So yeah, it makes it a lot tankier, and a lot faster, and a lot more damagey. But yeah. So that's some of the mechanics. So Boneshatter itself. I use complex pretty much everything. Where is it? Here it is. pretty much everything. I really need a 2120 this, don't I? Gonna level some more Boneshatters. So it stuns a lot of people, does damage to yourself. You don't really, with this self poison. I'll talk about the self poison mechanics. With my self poison build, you don't really notice the damage to yourself because you're just regening all the time. So, yeah, it just your life doesn't really move. Yeah, stuns a lot of people, which is, as I was going to say before, it's a huge defensive layer for Boneshatter. With all the stunning, stops. Obviously, the enemies can't really hurt you if they're stunned. So that itself is like a really good defensive layer, as well as like being like pretty sick. And I really enjoy using the skill. To be honest, it's really satisfying to use. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's. Oh yes, I'll talk about the poison, the self poison interaction. So I have this jewel here. So the bleeding stuff is all you don't really care about. You have to be immune to bleeding with this build, one way or another. You can do it through your ascendancy by getting endless hunger. I really don't like this ascendancy. Headsman is way better. It's because basically 20% more damage because of the culls. And then obviously 10% attacks and 10% movement speed. It just feels way better on maps and against the boss than Endless Hunger does. Like a 20% increased damage just doesn't feel like anything. So I'd rather get can't be stunned other ways and like avoid. I got avoid bleeding tattoos. 3 of these. I got avoid bleed on my this jewel here, and I've got avoid bleed in my boots. So I'm immune to bleeding. You have to be immune to bleeding if you use this, or like unaffected by bleeding, because otherwise you just instantly kill yourself. It sucks. And so anyway, the main reason we use this is poison you inflict is reflected to you if you have fewer than 100 poisons on you. So that means, you poison yourself, but you also wear this amulet, and the bottom line there says taking chaos damage over time heals you instead while leeching life. So, we're always leeching, we're a slayer, we have Slayer Overleech, which is life leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. You could also, if you're another class, you could also get this whole setup by using low life, because Petrified Blood does the same thing. If you use Petrified Blood, it doesn't reserve life leech until you get to your max life, which you never do. However, if you're using my setup with this adrenaline and you use a flask, it will fill the unreserved life, and then you will lose your leech. So that's a little bit of a wrinkle there, but you can do this on other classes. This self poison setup. So yeah, while you're leeching life, poison damage heals you. So that includes all. That includes all chaos damage heals you. So over time. So that includes all chaos damage over time. So if you're fighting like Al Hismeen or whatever, all his chaos damage over time just heals you. If you're doing a what's it called? The Trial Master thingy. The name escapes me right now. But if you do the miasma clouds, those heal you if you're leeching. So you just get the big T4 of one of those, and you just it's a lot of heal. Yeah, so that's the poison interaction, and then I get chance to poison on my gloves. I get it on this node, and I also have a few some random little jewels that have it too. I think I've got about 40%. I really want about 60%. Start feeling a bit better. Yeah. Nice, a corrupted. Okay. Yes, corrupted blood jewel. It's really good because I don't really want it on my flasks. I want it because I don't have a life flask for it. Because I've got this this writhing jar. This is to basically let me poison myself if I'm in a boss fight or whatever. The thing is with the self poison is it sort of means that your chaos reduces your healing. So you kind of try to sit around like 0% chaos resist. If you have 0% chaos resist, each instance of poison heals you for 20,000 life per second roundabouts. Of course it goes, when you get an instance of poison, your chaos resist goes 1% higher because of the what it says there, 1% to chaos resistance per poison on you. So if you're running around with 100 chaos poisons, 100 poison stacks, which you sometimes do in maps, your poison resist capped, you know. But you're also healing for a lot too because you've got so many poisons on you. So it's kind of a good. The less poison you have, the higher. Like when you're running out with 100 poisons, you're just extremely tanky, you know. But yeah, it's you don't really need 100 poisons. You just don't really want to get hit by chaos damage. Okay, so let's do a map. But yeah, you can see I've got 2 lines there on my health bar. The top line is what my health is currently, and the bottom line is what my health, like they're sort of damage prevented. Like what my health would be if I stopped regenerating right now. My Petrified Blood working. People ask me what type of content this can do. It's anything melee can do. Pretty much. It's actually really good at weird content too. Like this is one of the only types of builds in the game that can tank like Cortex Cirrus Storms with this self poison. As long as you're poisoned, that caveat. And leeching, and also Cortex puddles as well, because they're half chaos and half lightning. Yeah. A lot of annuls. And where's this Harbinger gone? It's a pretty juicy map actually. What is this? Oh yeah. You can see the map mods there. So I've got 104%. I got 104% less recovery. Now that would kill any normal leech build, right? But lucky because my chaos heal doesn't actually count as recovery. Oop, probably shouldn't die into random stuff while I'm trying to loot. That's a good one. Because the chaos damage counts as heal, so I shouldn't actually be able to heal any at all, right? If I was just life leeching, but because it counts as heal, I can. So that's pretty interesting. And you see the insane crit chance there, and damage is lightning as well. Okay, yeah. So this is a pretty rippy map. What's the quantity? 187% quantity. Why am I doing this map? It's okay. This build is like, as you can see, like the build's not having a problem with it. You know, I don't really feel like. The only time I got close to dying was when I was trying to loot. Stop noticing my health. A lot of builds couldn't actually do this map, to be honest. Because of that, especially the 104% reduced recovery. So that like all builds that base anything to do with regen, mana regen, life regen, anything like that depends on life leech. There you go. So it's but it does. There are some modifiers I stay away from, especially like the chaos damage ones. You could do them on this build. You could honestly, you could just up your chaos resistance and be fine with it. Its problem is you just don't heal yourself so much. You know, if you up yourself from 0% to 75%, it takes your heal from like what 20k per second per poison for the one poison to down to like 5k a second or whatever. So that's a quarter of your regen gone. But that could be worth it. Oh, standing on burning ground. Is this map complete? Sleep. I think that's us. Yeah, anyway, that's the build. Thanks for watching. And let me know if you've got any questions on the build. And I'll try to respond. I like to try to respond to the comments, but yeah, I'll yeah, I'll do my best. Alright, thanks guys. Have a good one. I'll catch you later.